I want this film to help imagine what goes on in this powerful machine that's in your palm, I want to understand. I try to imagine the computing power I would like to make a film that describes the Rechenpower, the computing power of a smartphone. I would like to make a film that illustrates the computing power of a smartphone. What technology went into it, how we got there, to put it in perspective, to show what a PC in 1987 could do with 20 megabytes total computing power, how it all developed, the first notebook, laptop, what could they do, find old films that show the speed of operations, show desktops, developments, speed, the slowness, the moving parts, the floppy disk, but how it all ended in the smartphone and the demise of the computer, the stationary computer, the laptop, have all been superseded by the smartphone. What does that do to the brain, the screen size, the enjoyment of large pictures, stopping reading, watching photos. But this film should be about why does it ever get faster? Why do chips get smaller? Why do chips get more powerful? How can you make chips with details that are smaller than the wavelength of light? How can you do that? How can you expose the plates, or whatever they're called? They're exposed with light, but the wavelength, the size is smaller than the wavelength of the light used. How the fuck is that possible? And who makes these parts, and where are they invented? But this film should be about, just to put into perspective what powerful instrument you've got in your hands. 2004 I had my first what was it? It wasn't really a smartphone, a Sony P800 I think it was called, and it took I actually did take photographs, and how on earth is it possible in 13 years to go from those shitty photographs to 10 megapixel Sony cameras in a tiny phone? What does that do to photography, to the camera market, people's understanding of the lens of photography, of filming? And I always feel there's kind of a lack of respect for the power that's in your hand, for the power of the instrument that lies in your hand, the power of the instrument that is in the palm of your hand. There's a lack of respect for the power of the instrument that lies in the palm of your hand. There's just no understanding, it's beyond comprehension what goes on inside this powerful instrument. And how does code get written? Code, I mean, zeros and ones, I once understood no one programs zeros and ones anymore. But who knows what the zeros and ones mean? But this film should be about how can like hundreds of millions of people stream movies at the same time, and it all goes through the same cable under the Atlantic. And how do these zeros and ones know where to go, and that this zero and that one and that one and that one and that zero and that one and that zero and that zero is destined to my computer and not yours. It obviously has some, so I guess every zero has a little data parcel with an address label attached to it, but then the address label must be bigger for each zero or one than the actual information, than the zero. How do they not all get lost? I mean, it's all the same. It's either zeros or ones. I would like to make a film. When the internet first got a little bit fast, around 2000, there was all this talk about the copper cables, the telephone wires couldn't really take faster signals, and it all had to be exchanged. But I don't think everything has been exchanged now. And why in 2018 can there be like gigabytes transmitted in seconds down the same wires that were deemed not fit? Or maybe I didn't notice that everything was exchanged. But I certainly know in my flat in London, nothing was exchanged from 2000 till 2011, and the internet got faster and faster, and the telephone cable was still just hanging outside down the building. I want this film to try to allow myself to understand what goes on in this cable under the Atlantic. And then other bits, I guess, go via satellite, or is it all underwater and overground and underground? Or does the internet work, like, is there major traffic lines via satellite?